I'm not hearing anything, Martin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I make it 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. if you've not put your clocks back. So we'll make a start. Are we live, Tom? Tom's not alive.
The stream is now live, Chair.
Right, okay, then we can make progress. You've all got your agenda. I'll open by asking for apologies. We have none. Any officers sent their apologies? They'll be duly recorded if they have. I've got no urgent items of business. Any declarations of interest? No. Minutes of previous meeting, you'll find these starting on page 5 through to 18. You've all had a chance to look through these. Is there anything that you find that's not quite right or you can't remember from last time? You all happy?
Councillor McGregor, move as accepted true report.
Councillor.
Been moved and seconded. All in favour? Okay, Nick? Yeah, I can see you. Yeah. I've got no
Yeah,
matters
fine,
from,
thank you.
Right. I've got no matters from scrutiny, none from budget and policy framework. We'll move on to item 5, non-key decisions. This is the budget monitoring report, Q2. This will be Clive, and he starts at page 19. Clive.
Yeah, thanks, yes. It's nice to get on first on this act this morning, so thank you for that. And they normally stick me back. But anyway, here we go again. It's very much similar to Q1, which I give you a couple of months back, obviously. But this is to update where we are, financial position on general fund, housing revenue account, capital programme and treasury management activity. We have to remember that we've not yet included any grant received from government to help mitigate the expense we've incurred and the income that we've lost as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. And that'll be sort of November time when we start getting that fed in. Your general fund account summary is listed on Appendix 1. And this shows that the deficit's reduced to 0.003 million from 0.29 million in Q1. And savings are identified through, in the report as to where that is. We've done a review of salaries, and we've removed 0.168 million from that budget. This has been a result really of taking positions longer to fill due to coronavirus, and also to the fact that we've had restructurings over the last few months. Original budget, as I say, were based on 2 directorates. We have actually now got 3, and there are some transition lines really at the top of Appendix 1 to show you, where we are with that. But the 3 directorates, we've got the corporate resources, and that shows a favourable variance in it all. Development directorate again shows a favourable variance, and the environment and enforcement shows slightly an adverse variance. This tends to be due as much as anything else to the fact that rather than paying invoices throughout the year, they've all been paid in one quarter. That tends to make it look over the top. And we've had a few pressures on income as well there as well. So a couple of things there that's making that showing that adverse variance. Really, overall position in the Q2 shows there's a favourable variance of 0.413 million. But this again is due to 106 underspends really within it, and position would be worse. Would have would have underachieved by 0.15 million if these 106 monies hadn't been in there. So we do just have to keep a bottom brief on that. Really, as part of the budget process, we'll identify as best we can how much other income we lost due to sundry debtors and when invoices not been paid. This is such things as trade waste, commercial property rent, housing benefit overpayments, that sort of thing. So we're sort of keeping as eye monitoring that in it all. And we're thinking there's going to be a gap probably of 0.12 million on that. And that's the first 5% of what we'll have to stand in the regime that we'll recover monies from MHCLG. Table on top of page 22 shows where we are with the current medium-term financial plan, and that was reported to council in February of this year. What we're using is monies from the to top up that plan from the NNDR Growth Protection Reserve. Now that'll keep us going over these next 3 years in it. And really, we'll be transferring fair bits of money. It does tell you in 1.9, the monies will be transferring there. But like everything else, it's only lasts for so long. Any surpluses that are made during those years will be transferred and put in that fund as well. So that gives us a bit more leeway again at the end of it all to use it if there is a problem in it. But we've again got to keep us on it, but at least we should take out any peaks and troughs on that and be able to do a nice steady run irrespective of what happens. Obviously, same as say, it's not sustainable, and really I'm going to be looking to Grant to make us some money or something, because that new director needs to be bringing some money in to cover the losses that we'll be making, or the monies that we won't be getting, I should say, from central government. 1.12 shows MHCLG looking at reviews, fair funding review, business rate system. It looks as though they've all again been put off for maybe another year, and there's a lot of uncertainty about the spending review in 2020 and how many years this is going to cover. Obviously, if we've got a 3-year sort of review, then we've got a bit more planning. If it's 1 year, it's a bit belts and braces all the time. 1.13 goes on to the housing revenue account, and then it shows at end of quarter 2, it's showing a net surplus of 0.18 million within it all. Income shows an adverse variance of 0.192, and this is generally due to higher void levels, or void levels being longer than anticipated. So we obviously lose some money from that in there. Open housing management system, that we've got a large adverse on supporting people's wardens. This is due to the fact that DCC's provision for independent living service has not been raised, and that's 0.070 million within it all. Expenditure in there shows an overall favourable variance of 0.400 million, and main areas are listed under 1.15 as to where that they fall. Really, on 1.16, it just says the HRA overall summary. There's no significant issues really that I'd like to report on that position for that in this second quarter, but obviously we'll be looking at this, and it'll be part of the revised budget process that we're going through, that'll be presented, I think, in November time. Capital expenditure, capital profile budget is 8.701 million, and the actual spend committed is only down at 4.424, which is obviously 4.277 short of what we should be spending. This is really, it is listed in 1.18. Really, it's balls over new balls over scheme and replacement vehicle general fund that's really, giving us that underspending it all. And again, over on top of page 24, you'll find that disabled facility grants are again a bit underspent. Whilst we've got no significant problems as regarding the capital expenditure, we must be noted that we do need to be spending this money against the capital programme that's set out. And we have to also, as I mentioned in quarter 1 review, when I gave you, we've got concern as regards to spending the one-for-one capital monies at end day. If we didn't spend it, I think it was initially by September, as it says in there, we'd have to repay it. Again, officers have been talking to MHCLG, and we have got this extension as previously reported to the 31st of December this year. So we do need to be spending that. We don't want to be losing anything. 1.2 also shows us capital resource, and again it says a capital resource in place to finance the HRA. We've got sufficient, and we that's looking okay. As regards treasury management, this is how we invest our monies, to get the best return on it all. So it's borrowing an investment within that lot, and the strategy for treasury management was set out in February 2020. What we've done this time, we've been able to use some of the monies that we've got, because we've not particularly had a great pressure on us to use the money. So we've been able to invest it for longer than 3 months in some cases, and that's given a little bit higher interest rate, or not a lot, but every little helps, as I say, and this is much Tesco into it, but anyway, it's balls over and all. So every little helps gets us there within it at the end of the day. And again, obviously a full assessment will be done on this when we do with the revised budget process. Couple other bits within it all. Somebody said, we've got no COVID input into this, and that'll come through next time. Variances are pretty much in line with what we'd normally expect, with these sort of things at the end of the day. But, where we are underspends and overspends, so we're not too bothered about that. We have got a few, Bob coming, we learned last week from central government as regards to COVID expenses and the way within it all, that I've got a meeting set up with Teresa and hopefully with Lee a week tomorrow, because we haven't got it yet, it's coming through. It's quite a considerable amount of money, and it's to help us through, you know, and again, to help us out and anybody else that we can through these torrid times where we don't know where we are. I don't think I'm really going to say hotels. We have got this recovery scheme in place where we stand the first 5%, and we can only reclaim back 75% of the 95%. It's all very complicated, I'm sure, but we are looking on that. But we can only do that on income that we lost, like through you know, leisure centre and those activities. All in all, Chair, relatively comfortable. I'm not going to say easy because I think as treasurer, well, as cabinet member for you know, finance, that I always will take a cautious view on things and save money where we can, save money and put it where we can for times that we might not have recognised are coming along. Quite happy to take any questions. Recommendations are at the bottom of page 25 at 6.1 and 6.2, but I'll leave off moving those until I see if there's any questions. And if I can't answer them, I'll hopefully Lee will, because Teresa's on holiday, try her best. Thank you, Chair.
Right, thanks, Clive. You moved it. Is there a seconded to that?
I'll second that, Chair.
Right, been moved and seconded. Is any questions to Clive? I mean, Clive's just explained that there's no surprises, and there's no surprises in this. And so, who's first? Mary.
Chair, it's just to thank Clive because he's really got his eye on the ball with this. So I take my hat off to him if I got one on. Yeah, it's well done to you, Clive. Good report.
You're not be saying that when he stops you spending some money.
I think the cabinet member for economic development might not sometimes bear the same sort of phrase that Mary's just given me. Yeah, well, we all here to do a job, aren't we? You know, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. And you know, and that's what we have to do. And it's not just to me. If I ain't got good officers around me, then, you know, it won't be as easy as it is for me. Well, it's not easy, but it won't be as it is for me. So it's a good team working together, trying to make sure we deliver the services to people of Bolsover that we all represent. So thanks for that, Mary, but same say, thank you.
Sandra.
To say to Clive to take the compliment because it's an onerous job. It really is. I don't think I'd like it, but you know, you do well.
Right, thanks, Sandra. Right, there's no further questions. We'll no doubt fall out with Clive sometime in future when you've all got this burning ambition to spend millions of pounds. But until then, Clive, bask in the compliments that have been that you've received today.
What do they say? 24 hours is a long time in politics at the end of the day.
It used to be a week, but with today's technology, you're probably right.
Yeah.
It is 24 hours. Yeah. Right, we'll move on to page 43. I didn't take a vote, did I? We all happy with receiving report? Yeah, fine. I thought we were.
Second it.
I thought we were. Page 43. This is you, Duncan.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Colleagues, the purpose of this report is to make elected members aware of performance in relation to its customer service standards and the effective management of complaints. Again, COVID-19 has had a dramatic effect on the targets, but that's been explained before. And until we sort out the COVID-19, then I think it will be a continuation of the problems. Having said that, approximately a third of targets have been affected, but also pleasing to note that 2/3 were on track at question 1. Customer service standards, you'll see them on Appendix 1, 93% to be answered within 20 seconds. Appendix 2, that shows the housing and community safety 92% in Q3 and planning 92% in Q3. Cumulatively, performance is 98% over 2019-20 on the contact centres. Target is 80% of incoming calls to be answered within 24 seconds. And the contact centres achieved 80% and 76 for Q3 and 4, respectively. 70% was cumulative. Revenues and benefits, target of 60% of incoming calls to be answered within 20 seconds. The revenue and benefits direct dial achieved 81% and 81% for quarter 3 and 4 respectively. You'll see various appendices in the report, colleagues, that will highlight the various percentages which have been accepted and approved. We're on the compliments, comments and complaints, shows the number of written complaints received for the period by department. In total, 218 written complaints were received. Complaints were received from customers who appreciated excellent service. These included 44 for leisure, 35 for street services, 35 for revenues and benefits, and 26 for housing. Summary: the following tables provide a summary of performances for compliments, comments, and complaints for 2019-20 with comparative data for previous years. If you look on page 46, that explains that particular comment that I've made. When comparing 19 to 20 years, the previous year of 18-19, the following is noted. There were more written complaints, more written compliments. We have received fewer comments. We have received fewer frontline resolution complaints, received more formal investigation complaints, and received more internal review complaints. The recommendation you will see, colleagues, on page 47 is 6.1 that the executive note the overall performance on customer service standards and compliments, comments and complaints. Thank you.
Thanks, Duncan. Duncan's moved it. Is it seconded? That's seconded.
Second that, Chair.
Any questions? Any questions? No? You all happy? I mean, it is an indication that, authority is becoming more and more well received by the general public. It's easier to complain, and complaints are dealt with in a workmanlike fashion, and there's very few disappear into ombudsman's bag. Clive, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, I mean, I think, all this is important really at these times we're going through. It's good that people can get in touch with us and they can ask us the questions, they can move it on, they can complain, or they can say, thank you very much for attending today. But it is good, as you say, Leader, that we actually do respond back to these people so that they can understand where we are. So I think it's a vital service, and it's not easy doing what we're doing these days, but, it's really good that we are trying to manage it and seeming to receive the general respect of majority of people at the end of the day for what we're trying.
Yeah.
I welcome that comment, because it is true. Staff have been working very hard through difficult circumstances, and I think the public in general do accept that and understand it. And I said earlier, until that COVID-19 problem that we're all experiencing goes away, then I don't see too much of a difference. But it does demonstrate, these statistics demonstrate, the council is working to its best ability under these difficult circumstances. So I say thank you to the staff in all these departments that are working very hard. Thank you.
All in favour? That's carried. Next one, Duncan, it's you again. Annual letter. Agenda item 7. So you're quite happy to move that we accept?
Perfectly happy to move that.
Right.
Thank you.
Is that seconded?
Seconded, Chair.
Yeah, that's seconded. Any questions to this? I doubt it very much. All in favour? That's carried unanimously, yeah. Item 8. This is you again, Duncan. And I see that you've got Anne zooming in to assist you. Duncan?
You over to Anne while I find my page. Thank you.
Come on, Anne.
Good morning. The annual letter from the Ombudsman. We're on to, is that
We've
the
dealt with
item,
that one. We've dealt with that one, and we're on to agenda item 8,
which is,
the council targets.
Actually, Chairman, that will be
that's
me,
Kath.
in
What?
Kath's absence.
Who?
Me, Sarah.
I know, I can see you. You're doing it in place of Kath, are you?
Well, yes, not as well as, but in place of, yes.
No, I don't accept that.
You're too kind. This report is the first report you've had on your new performance targets. Considering we have been struck with COVID during this first period, we've done very well. The outline stats that Kath's given me is that out of the 31 targets, 20 are on track, which is a tremendous achievement because that's 2/3 of them are on track despite COVID. So 32% have been affected and 4%, which is actually only 1, has been achieved. We are currently seeking updates from officers for Q2, hoping this will give us a better view of what's happening with these targets for July to September, and it will give a more up-to-date position and how the recovery plan is kicking in, hopefully. This will be going to SAMT and then emailed to Cabinet members on the 13th of November, so that's only actually about 3 weeks, and then on to scrutiny in December and executive at your January meeting. The report is as written. Thank you, Chair.
Right, thanks, Sarah. Duncan's moved. Is it
Again,
seconded?
it is straightforward, I think, colleagues, but I will move the report.
Seconded. Seconded. Any questions to Duncan? Any questions to Sarah? Are you all happy and content? Clive, you voting? Right, all in favour? That's carried. We'll move on. Who? Nick? Go on, Nick, did you want to speak?
Yeah, it's not a question, it's a comment, or just whether it's showing this quarter or not. We just, as you know, we've initiating the tree planting programme. There was a press release 2-3 weeks back. The ambition is to plant 1 million trees, and we're hopefully getting the parish councils, community associations and private landowners to join in, which is at the moment that's all being progressed by the officers, Chris McKinney in particular. I don't think he's here today, but hopefully that will go ahead. And we got an interview taking place tomorrow with Bowls Over TV to publicise the event as well.
Thanks, Nick. Right, we voted on that. We'll move on. Agenda item 9. This is you, Mary.
Thank you. Yeah, the transformation project, what it achieved really, we're bringing all the workforce and members' ideas together. And from the transformation programme in 2018, the forward-thinking team that we have now feel it's time to move forward. And hence this report. It's a good report, but I'm going to ask Matt to go through it for you. So over to Matt.
Come on, Matthew.
Morning, everyone. Thanks, Mary. So the report is a response to the COVID recovery plan. It's an action in there, and also timely as we are about halfway through the transformation programme, 2 years in.
Is it switched on? Is your microphone on?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
Just a bit closer. Apologies. So just to quickly run through the report. So one of the key themes that we are wanting to keep is the Leadership Academy. It's been a really successful part of the transformation programme and something that we want to continue. And the first cohort is about to recommence with a electronic format, which has been arranged. And then in January, we will start the second cohort as planned. The other changes in the programme are to reduce the governance outlined in 1.4a. So one of the criticisms of the transformation programme, I think from both officers and members, is it was resource heavy in terms of monitoring and trying to feed back on hundreds of project ideas to staff. And there was a huge challenge in doing that in a timely manner to give the project ideas the feedback that those staff members deserved. And it created a monitoring problem in terms of every quarter having to update and get progress updates on each of those. So there is a shift to move to strategic projects, outlined a little later in the report, and move to just one quarterly meeting of the transformation programme to review the strategic projects, but also the other aims of the transformation programme as set out in the 2018 transformation programme document. A move away from a call for project ideas. So how the transformation programme have been delivered in the first instance was a suggestion box type of approach, call for projects and ideas from staff and members, fed in and fed back. I've just covered the governance issues and monitoring issues that created. So a move to the strategic projects is recommended. Point C, financial savings. Again, what we found in monitoring some of the smaller scale projects that came forward was there was potential for duplication with finance team doing their annual review around this time of year. Therefore, the suggestion is to, other than the strategic projects, allow finance to do what is very much their bread and butter and reviewing the project savings with service managers. And then in 1.4D is the list of strategic projects. I'm not proposing to go through them in detail. I'm happy to take questions on them, and I would hope that none are a surprise to either executive or SAMT. 1.5, just a reminder that whilst there is some detail on the strategic projects, they are of scale to be comfortably delivering the financial and carbon reduction key transformation aims, and they are the strategic corporate targets that we report on as well through the transformation programme. And then just a note in 1.6 that the leader and MP published a list of projects that would be an ambition to deliver in the medium term, and any of those projects which do become live and require resource would fall into a strategic project for the transformation programme. And the recommendations are on page 81. Happy to take any questions.
All right, thanks, Matthew. Any questions to Matthew on this report, Clive?
Not really a question, I suppose, but I think it's good that it's being looked at again now. This transformation fund, certainly served its purpose where we are up to this point in time. And it's like everything else, money is being depleted out of that fund at the end of the day, down to just over a couple of million around about that, I think now. So I'm happy that we are reviewing it and looking at it and, making it, if you like, say, fit for purpose in these difficult, again, this situation we are with COVID. I'm happy that you, Leader, are working on HS2 to try and get something on 1.6 on the fifth bullet point down thing. So, it'd have to be nice to get something sorted on that, because obviously it's decimating, the area that I represent at the end of the day. And I'm also happy that we're going to make financial savings, which are listed under C on page 79. So I'm with you on that one. You've got my support. So yeah, happy that we're looking at it, and I think it's good we do this and get regular reports back. And as I said, we'll keep an eye out on finance, how things are going and that, and keep a good working relationship with it all. So thank you.
Thanks, Clive. Duncan.
Thank you. On page 79, strategic project D, I just want to make some comments. The home stroke agile work in an organization will work is what you do, not necessarily where you are. And I think that's really true. So because underneath that, I would suggest that senior members, senior officers certainly remember productivity is actually going to be a key element to be able to keep that sustained. And embedding home agile working and video conference to reduce the need to attend the workplace and ultimately reduce the number of desks required for both organisations. And you can see where the financial improvement in carbon reduction is monitored, is measured in there. A review of vacant space that will give the council an opportunity to reassess itself as to where we want to, what we'd like to do and what we would not to do. And over the page on page 80, Plesley Vale Mills. I personally feel that this is a project really worth looking into, because we have to look out of the box, Chair, to be able to get, hopefully in the future, enhanced income, because that's what keeps the oils of the machinery working at the council. We need the money to be able to move forward if we haven't got the money there. So new ideas are really important, and I have every faith personally that there's something down Plesley Vale Mills that we should be looking at seriously and moving on. We've already had a presentation here. I think everybody at that stage was very hopeful, and we've actually invested a sum of money already to do some work on that. So let's hope that that moves on. I don't know where we are on that at the moment, but hopefully a report will become shortcoming as to where we are, an update on that. But thank you.
Thanks, Duncan. Liz?
I'd just like to say I'm so pleased that so many of the things on this list, like Plesley Vale, like the corridor to Shirebrook, are about job creation and bringing money to the local economy. I think it's a really good move. Thank you.
Mary?
Thanks, Chair. Before I move the recommendation, I said before that the ideas from the workforce and the members, and two come to mind, is the swimming pool cover and the heating system. I'd like to have known what projects was completed with all the information that we've had from the members and the staff. I would have liked to. So if Mark can put something together to say what we have achieved, I'd like to see that, because I only know of one or two. So before I move then, and I would like it to be circulated to all the members. Is that possible, Lee? Yeah, yeah.
I was talking about this last week, and it's on our agenda tomorrow, Duncan, isn't it? A report on what we have achieved, because it's easiest thing it will, you know, because you get something done, and then you move on to the next problem, move on to the next ambition, and so on. And you forget what you've done, or you don't broadcast what you've done. And we do need to do that, Mary. So it is being looked at. You know, we have to have a roundup. Matt?
Thank you, Chair. Just in response to that, I just want to give executive comfort that we have fed back to staff. There is a spreadsheet available on the extranet, which lists all of the projects and provides a project update, and I'm more than happy to circulate that to executive too.
Yeah, that's good. Any further questions on this? Mary's moved recommendation that we agree to transformation programme. Is that seconded?
Councillor McGregor, second.
Seconded. All in favour? That's carried. And that's the open part of the agenda dispensed with. Now we move on to item 10, exclusion of the public. We need to move that under section 100A4 of the Local Government Act 1972 as amended, Sarah. The public will be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in the stated part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Act, and it is not in the public interest for that to be revealed. The category of exempt information is stated after each item for the members' benefit, for the benefit of members that remain at the meeting.
Councillor McGregor, move
it. Okay.
I'll move it.
Right, seconded. All in favour? That's carried. Right, Scott, let me